Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, has entered a partnership with the NFL. Jay-Z's entertainment company, Rock Nation, will lead the NFL's music and entertainment strategies. So live music, Super Bowl halftime shows, things like that. So Jay-Z has explained this pairing as beneficial for social justice. And through music and entertainment, he can help supplement the NFL's Inspire Change initiative, which through the NFL's press release, they said includes education and economic advancement, improving police community relations, and criminal justice reform. So again, Jay Z believes that he can really inspire change, and like I said, that's the that's the name of this initiative by the NFL, Inspire Change. But he's going to be the face of this whole thing now, and he thinks through his work, through his efforts, that he can really lead this society into a better place. On Wednesday, Jay Z and the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell were together for a news conference, and they were asked many, many questions, and many of the questions by reporters seemed to surround one particular individual. That would be former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who has not been in the NFL since 2016. I believe that was his last season. And so most would say that Kaepernick does not have a job because he knelt. And the furor that came as a result of that, many people, I guess trying to say that he was kneeling because he was protesting the flag, protesting the national anthem, which he wasn't doing. He
Disrespecting the troops.
Yeah, disrespecting the troops. No, he wasn't doing that whatsoever. He explained his reasoning, and it was to promote social justice. It was to highlight injustice. It was to raise awareness. So Jay-Z has been a large proponent of Colin Kaepernick's work. You've seen him with Kaepernick jerseys, and even for the Super Bowl,
He boycotted.
he boycotted Super
And he
Bowl.
called out other people
Yeah.
for even thinking of wanting to perform at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, in a song, I believe. Yeah, he had some lyrics saying that he turned down the opportunity to perform at the halftime, saying that they need me, I don't need them. So again, this is an interesting pairing, Jay Z
Say
and
that.
the
No,
NFL.
no. Say that again. Say that.
He said that they need me, I don't need them.
Okay,
That's what he said.
I think that's interesting, and I think differently about that statement now because we covered that when he said it. So now I'm thinking differently about that, and I'm thinking it was more about, hey, you need me more than I need you, so I'm sending you a signal. That seemed to be more of like him flashing his business card out. I didn't think of it that way now, but when you just said it,
yeah, it looked righteous before this pairing now, before this agreement to become business partners, the NFL and Jay-Z. So, look, there's been a lot of criticism over this announcement, and many people, I don't know, a lot of people have been fiercely criticizing Jay-Z, and a lot of people are kind of like, don't really know what to make of this as of yet. Because again, Jay-Z is selling this idea as a way to advance, to go forward, to actually reach progress. So in this news conference, he talked about I guess this pairing and how you can't just I guess write somebody off if they've made a bad decision, or just made a bad move. So he said during this news conference, here we go right here, said you can't just throw someone out if they make a mistake. This is the real world. You can't say, oh, you made a mistake, you're canceled, I'm never speaking to you again. That doesn't accomplish anything. That's what I believe. I believe real change is had through real conversation and real work. So, look, I agree with that. I don't want to, I guess I don't want to support the idea that people can't evolve, people can't change. And even when you're talking about a corporation, I know, especially on this show, we've had very disparaging things to say about corporations that don't engage in proper actions, that are only interested in the bottom line, and that's profits, only interested in green. But could a corporation like come around? Could they make amends? Could they do the right thing? Of course they could. I mean, it's possible. We don't see it a lot, but definitely they could. Now, the question here, if you're taking Jay-Z's words to be genuine, the question here would be, okay, if you don't want to throw people away, if you don't want to cancel people over their misdeeds, then this particular parent in this particular corporation, this multinational corporation in the NFL that we're talking about, have they made amends? Are they coming from a genuine place here? And are we supposed to believe that the NFL is actually trying to do right here?
Interesting that he brings up, you know, potentially canceling people because of their view, right? And actually, that's not what it is. It's not canceling people because of what they think or what they say or making a mistake. Because the way he presents it, it's like these things aren't intentionally done. You know, greed is not intentional. Exploitation is not intentional when it is. That's what he suggests when he uses the word like people make mistakes.
Right.
This system is not constructed on a mistake. These are kind of intentional actions people in power use to subjugate people and blackball people. And speaking of being canceled, Mr. Z, didn't the NFL cancel somebody? Huh? And isn't that what this whole damn thing is about? Didn't the NFL cancel somebody? So who is that message like directed at? Maybe you should direct that message to the NFL who canceled one of their best players.
That's like the idea, again, because Jay-Z is selling this as me. Jay-Z and the NFL are going to do good work here and advance in social justice. The idea that this partnership, well, actually, the idea that the NFL, who shunned and canceled Colin Kaepernick and is still shunning and canceling Colin Kaepernick, could do what Colin Kaepernick set out to do, which is raise awareness and progress this country forward. The idea that they could do that while still engaging in the activity of shunning the individual that is known for doing that, known for raising awareness for this particular type of thing. The idea is ridiculous. It's highly ridiculous.
It's highly ridiculous. And it's like, hey, we're going to do this work behind the scenes, and we're going to highlight the work we do behind the scenes off the field. But we will not, I guess, internalize that as a league and present a certain image about social justice directly in our league by either one, talking to these owners and seeing if you could get Colin Kaepernick at least some practice time,
right,
a position, and actually openly advocate for Colin Kaepernick and what he was trying to bring attention to openly, and address your fans through, let's say, some advertisements. You know what I'm saying? Because there's been a lot of outrage.
There's been a lot of outrage.
But there's a lot of outrage. You know, people boycotting the NFL because of this one or a few players kneeling. You know, if the NFL was really, you know, honest and genuine about all this, they try to reverse how the NFL, their platform, was used as a way to demonize a player. Until they do that, whatever work that they do for social justice just seems like some superficial philanthropy in order to kind of wash themselves, like from what happened to Colin Kaepernick and them not standing behind Colin Kaepernick as a player and what he was trying to bring attention to. So
this is a great move for the NFL. Now it's a good move for Jay-Z as well. Now, if Jay-Z had sold this as look, this is a business opportunity that's just too damn good to pass up. I'm gonna have to do it. I know I've been supportive of Colin Kaepernick, but I don't think I can do anything about that. I want him to get a job. He hasn't got one yet, but man, this is really gonna further my career, and hopefully I can do some good work with this. But look, like I said, the bottom line, cash, money, profit, man. Look, this is a great opportunity. If he had said that, I think I would have had a little bit more respect for him. But to sell this as I'm going to partner with the corporation that shunned an individual that wants to do the same thing that I'm trying to do, but I'm going to partner with them anyway. The NFL looks, I think, for a lot of people, the NFL is going to come off as like this hero now, and their image is going to receive somewhat of a boost. I know there's a lot of criticism around this, but there's a lot of people that have an affinity for Jay-Z and believes that he's going to do the right thing. And so if he's going to do the right thing, whoever he partners with is trying to do the right thing as well. So the NFL has a good look now, which all it is a mirage. This is nothing.
I don't know what song it was. Maybe someone in the chat can remind me, but there's a lyric that comes to mind, Jay-Z lyric. Like I said, I don't know what song, but he said, "I'm a businessman. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman." So what is he telling? What is he telling the public? What is he telling any other company or corporation about himself? That he's kind of projecting what he will do for somebody else. I guess in regard to facilitating business between him and another party, he's saying, "Look, that's what I am. I'm a business. I make business moves." And that's definitely what it is. It's just interesting considering some of lyrics I've heard from him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just in regard to the Black experience, having to compromise yourself to become successful. I've heard him use phrases like "shuck and jive." You know what I'm saying? Which is a description of an individual who loses a bit of their integrity in order to gain popularity or some kind of financial benefit.
But it's usually done for white people. It's usually like dancing for white people. That's usually when it's
that kind of looks like what he's doing now. Because I don't think Jay-Z needs the NFL to help address social injustices. He doesn't need the NFL to do that. It just seems as if he's kind of using the NFL as a platform to have his cake and eat it too.
Yes.
And I don't think in this world you can do that. It's like almost trying to create like significant and massive social change through, let's say, the Democratic Party, or certain members of the Democratic Party, like you would call like the liberal establishment. There's almost no way you can create change through people like that, no matter what you do. Whatever incremental progress is made in regard to social justice is going to be superseded by whatever else the NFL promotes, because most of the NFL owners donate money to whose campaign?
Donald Trump. And they were not supportive, obviously, of what Colin Kaepernick was doing.
Those owners are still there, right?
And they still feel the same way because Colin Kaepernick does not have a job or a workout.
And they still donate to probably a president that I would consider anti-social justice. And the NFL is going to be making mad money from this. Where is that money going to be going?
To people like
Donald Trump.
President Donald Trump. So let's hear from Jay-Z himself, because we do have some footage of the news conference. And, these were my feelings before I even saw the news conference, before I even saw clips of the news conference. And I think my opinions just, they were just, my feelings were just confirmed by hearing what Jay-Z had to say. So in this first clip, Jay-Z is fielding a question from Charlemagne the God, who is from The Breakfast Club. And he's talking about next steps, and also talks about Colin Kaepernick as well.
I think the biggest issue people have is they want to know how you could partner with a league on social justice. when Colin Kaepernick, who brought it to the attention of the masses by peacefully protesting against social injustices, still out of a job?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I think we take it back. I think that we forget that Colin's whole thing was to bring attention to social injustice. Correct. So in that case, right, this is a success. Right, this is the next thing. Right, because there's two parts of protesting. You go outside and you protest, and then the company or the individual say, "I hear you. What do we do next?" Right. So for me, it was like actionable item. What are we gonna do with it? Like everyone heard, and we hear what you're saying, and everybody know I agree with what you're saying. So what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So reach millions and millions of people, and or we get stuck on Colin not having a job. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, so I actually agree with him because look, he said there are two steps, right? I don't know if there's two steps, but hearing him, he said first you go outside and protest, and then you try to get the company to hear you, and so that's the next step, and that's the next step that he is on. So he doesn't want to get bogged down on one particular individual that has been instrumental in this fight not having a job. He wants to reach millions and millions and millions of other people and promote change. The biggest question, which I think I asked before, is this company, did they hear Colin Kaepernick? Did they hear the call for let's do something about social justice? Did they do that in a meaningful way? Because if they did do that in a meaningful way, Colin Kaepernick would still not be in the shunned status. He would at least get a workout because it's been a few years since he was in the NFL. But at the time he left, there's no way you could tell me that he was not one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the league. A lot of people say the best 30, the best 64, as in he could definitely get a backup job. Oh, no. No, he could get a starter's job
If you
somewhere.
actually look at the stats,
yes,
he was better than half of the starters
yes.
in the NFL. Remember, he went to the most volatile places on the road and beat, the league's top teams.
Yeah.
He even made it to the Super Bowl, I believe, right?
He did make it to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the idea that Jay-Z is trying to present here, look, we have to do more than just protest. We have to actually affect change. We have to get to the point where the company hears us. We have to partner with that company and actually seek out to do good things. Fine. But you have to be somewhat choosy about the company that you are working with and that they actually have your best interest in mind. I guess the best interest in this mission in mind. And I don't think the NFL has done anything to make their case seem genuine here.
No, I know, because if you're talking about the primary focus of why Colin Kaepernick was kneeling and the issues he was trying to bring attention to, it surrounds the criminal justice system.
Uh-huh.
And not just, hey, we're going to throw money at activist groups.
Right, which the NFL tried to do.
Which the NFL tried to do.
Right.
And
celebrate that as a win.
And celebrate that as a win when they're, in my opinion, obviously not tackling it from the top.
Right.
And I was like, if you don't tackle it from the top, if you don't, devote resources and, money towards tackling it from the top of the criminal justice system, trying to get certain people out and trying to get certain people in, you're just intentionally spinning your wheels to make it look like you're doing something of significance.
Right. If these owners are still backing candidates and politicians like Trump, but then throwing money at activists and organizations, like what's going to have more of an effect, So, okay, so we have another clip from Jay-Z talking about raising awareness and how really that portion of what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do, raise awareness, that portion is done. Like we have to move on to the next step here.
I don't want people to stop protesting at all. Kneeling, I know we're stuck on it because it's a real thing, but it's a form of protest. I support protests across the board. We need to bring light to the issue. I think everyone knows what the issue is, and we're done with that. Everyone knows what you know what the issue is? You know why we were kneeling? Okay. Do you know the issue? Yeah. Do you know the issue? Yes? We all know the issue now. Okay, next. Where we moving on next? And I'm not, again, so to be clear for the room, I'm not minimizing that part of it because that has to happen. That's a necessary part of the process. But now we all know what's going on. What are we going to do? How are we going to stop? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, how are you going forward? And Cap doesn't have a job. This wasn't about him having a job. Right? That became part of it. That became part of the discussion. He was kneeling to bring attention to injustice. We know what it is. Now, how do we address that injustice? What's the way forward? Does anyone else anyone have any other suggestions of what's the way forward?
Dude, how you going to sit up there with the NFL commissioner talking about it wasn't about Colin Kaepernick not having a job? Okay, that wasn't it. It became a little bit about. I mean, that is what it became a part of it, but that was not the entirety of it. How you going to sit there and act like you know what's going on? And then act like the NFL commissioner knows what's going on and he's on the same team as you in the same reality that Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job. If the NFL and its owners really understood and really wanted to do something about this, then why is Colin Kaepernick being shunned for doing the same thing that you're trying to achieve? He said that everybody knows the issue now, right? You know the issue? Somebody in the audience, or probably one of the reporters said police brutality. Okay, you know that. Do you know this? Everybody knows the issue. Let's move on. Mike, does everybody know the issue? Because there was a lot of animosity because of what Colin Kaepernick did.
Well, how many owners were actually in that room?
I don't know.
How many owners were actually in that room?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
But even amongst the people who were in that room, can Jay-Z confidently say that they know what's going on? And let's just say they know what's going on, not necessarily like the ins and outs of what Colin Kaepernick was trying to bring attention to. Yeah, they know the subject matter. They know what the subject matter is. They just say police brutality.
Right.
Like, I think anybody would kind of know what that is in general. And to me, it's not about what they know the kneeling was about. It's whether they care.
And if they actually want to engage in doing anything about it.
It's whether they care or not, whether they know. You can know something and not give a damn about it. You know what I'm saying? You can know all you want to know. But are you really going to put forth a genuine effort to see that some movement is made, some sort of change is made? Like in a genuine way.
In a genuine way.
That's what
we're talking about.
Because then you would start to have to address all of your owners, Mr. Goodell.
Yep.
You have to address that. It just seems as if Jay-Z is being used as a blackface right now for the NFL. For the NFL to hide behind.
Yes. That's why it's a great move in terms of imaging for the NFL. It's a good move for Jay-Z as well in terms of his bottom line, his company's bottom line. Great move. But in the plight of social activism, social justice, doing something about injustice, is this going to lead to any progress on that front? By knowing where the NFL was in 2016 and where they are in 2019 still, I don't have a lot of confidence.
I saw a Twitter post that just made me chuckle. It was like a comical analogy to what it looked like Jay-Z was trying to do. I can't remember who tweeted this, but it says, after Mrs. Parks and Dr. King called for the boycott, Jay-Z and Rock Nation struck a deal with the Metro to play colored music on the buses. I think we're past walking. I think it's time for action, he said. And I'm like, you know what? That's exactly what it looks like.
It does look like he sold out, man. It really does.
It definitely looks like he sold out. And what's funny is there's a very notable entertainer and social justice activist named Harry Belafonte. Some people in our chat and our audience may know about him. He's old school though. He was like a singer, producer, director, actor. everything. He's also was an integral part in the civil rights movement. He was friends with Dr. Martin Luther King. He was involved in a lot of humanitarian efforts. And he said something about Jay-Z and Beyonce in 2013, and a lot of people kind of threw some shade at him because, you know, Jay-Z, like you said, he's highly respected. In 2013, Harry Belafonte said, I think one of the great abuses of this modern time is that we should have had such high-profile artists and powerful celebrities, but they have turned their back on social responsibility. That goes for Jay-Z and Beyonce, for example. Give me Bruce Springsteen. And now you're talking. I really think he's black. And Jay-Z responded with something very indignant and egotistical. And Jay-Z's response to what Harry Belafonte said about powerful celebrities and high-profile artists kind of becoming the face of justice and not really doing anything, Jay-Z responded with, I'm offended by that because, first of all, and this is going to sound arrogant, but my presence is charity. Just who I am, just like Obama is. Obama provides hope. Whether he does anything, the hope that he provides for a nation and outside of America is enough. Just being who he is, you're the first black president. If he speaks on an issue or anything, he should be left alone. So Jay-Z should be left alone, he says. And just his presence should be cherished.
I wonder if he still feels like that. What
that was 6 years ago.
later?
Now, he does regret what he said, but that's who he was, and that's who he is in the moment if he said those things.
All right, let's go to Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. Let's hear what he had to say at this news conference.
We listened to our players. We understood what our players were saying, and we created a platform of which to help drive change in communities that Colin has raised and that other players have raised. And this partnership, in addition to the entertainment aspect and bringing football and music together, is going to help us make even greater change. And we call it protest to progress, right? We need to make progress as communities.
Yo, man, the audacity of Goodell to say that we listen to our players, we understand what they were saying, and to mention Colin Kaepernick's name,
and to say that they created a platform when they actually essentially tried to, through trying to implement new rules, to destroy the platform that Colin Kaepernick was using to bring attention. So him saying that creating a platform to deal with these social justice issues is bullshit, considering that, you know, him along with the owners of a league he's supposed to be the commissioner of were doing all they could so that players couldn't use the NFL as a platform to bring attention to those issues.
You know what would have looked better? You know what would have looked better? If the NFL was actually about this and was genuine in their approach, then the new leader, the new face of this plight by the NFL, the inspired change, would have been Colin Kaepernick. And Colin Kaepernick would also have an opportunity to have a job in the NFL.
But see,
that would have been a better
though.
approach.
But see, he can't rap. He can't rap.
You could have brought Jay-Z in the fold as well, too.
There's no money in
that.
that.
You could have
There's no
done
money
that.
in that. There's no money.
Again, if you don't include Colin Kaepernick in a meaningful way, if you don't try to right the wrong, because again, I'm fine with you evolving. I'm fine with you making amends. I'm fine with you saying, look, this was not the best course of action. You know, we didn't know how to deal with it. You know, we had some fans that were supportive. We had some fans that were really, really in opposition to the issues not the issues. No, to what Colin Kaepernick was doing. We had some fans that were really in opposition to that. We didn't know what the best way forward was. We erred, but we're trying to do the right thing for not just the NFL and its players, but for their communities and for this nation as a whole. And so we're going to correct that. We're going to bring Colin Kaepernick back in the fold. We're not going to allow, what happened in NFL fans and all that animosity to get in the way of him having a job in the NFL. We're not going to do that going forward. That would have been like, you know what? If I had saw that press release, if I had saw a news conference like that, I would have said, I know what really spurred this decision has a lot to do with profit. I know that. Has a lot to do with image, and I know that. I can't be sure that they're really genuine in their motives, but at least they're putting it out there. At least they're sending the right message. This doesn't send the right message whatsoever. This is phony.
Well, somebody mentioned in the chat that Jay-Z is a part of the capitalist class, and he is. And he is. And he looks at things as far as how he can benefit his pockets and his kind of business model and his image. That's how he looks at this issue. And I don't like what's kind of being presented here, what's being suggested. The message here to me is, hey, capitalism is going to solve these problems. Capitalism is going to deal with these problems. I just don't think that can happen.
So Colin Kaepernick did not directly respond to this announcement, to this pairing of Jay-Z and Rock Nation and the NFL. But on Twitter, he did have something to say. So he said, "Today marks the 3-year anniversary of the first time I protested systemic oppression. I continue to work and stand with the people in our fight for liberation, despite those who are trying to erase the movement. The movement has always lived with the people." I don't think that's supportive of what Jay-Z is doing. Eric Reid, who was Colin Kaepernick's teammate with the San Francisco 49ers, and who was also seemingly shunned by the NFL for some time. He now has employment with the Carolina Panthers on a new deal. Right. But he responded on Twitter as well. Now, this was more direct. This was definitely more direct. So he was responding to Jay-Z's words as they were shared by SportsCenter. And in the words, he was saying that, he said, "Everybody knows I agree with what you're saying," and Kaepernick's underlying message. "So what are we going to do? Help millions and millions of people, or we get stuck on Colin not having a job?" So Eric Reid responds, "These aren't mutually exclusive. They can both happen at the same time. It looks like your goal was to make millions and millions of dollars by assisting the NFL and burying Colin's career." I think that's an appropriate statement. Because again, it's not just that the NFL did bury Colin Kaepernick's career. They are still throwing dirt on top of his career.
And not only does it look like they're trying to bury Colin Kaepernick, it almost looks like Jay-Z is trying to co-opt Colin Kaepernick and take his place.
But he's being paid for it, though.
Bags.
Eric Reid also had a response to somebody on Twitter that said that, they are supportive of Eric Reid, but saying anything about any partnerships seems kind of weird. It felt like, or if you felt that strongly, you didn't have to start back playing. And so Eric Reid responded by saying, "You and some others seem to misunderstand that we had no beef with the NFL until they started perpetuating the systemic oppression that we are fighting by blackballing Colin and then me. Nah, I won't quit playing, but I will be a royal pain in the NFL's ass for acting like they care about people of color by forming numerous disingenuous partnerships to address social injustice while collectively blackballing Colin, the person who brought oppression and social injustice to the forefront of the NFL platform."
Again, what do people think? Like, hey, you should quit. What do you think that's going to accomplish?
Right.
Like, just like Eric Reid said, it's like, oh, hell nah. It's like, I'm going to be a thorn in their side.
Right.
I'm going to play for the NFL and still be bold in what I stand up for.
Voice my opinion.
I'm going to voice my
call
opinion.
them out.
You know what I'm saying? It's no different than, the iconic black fist during the Olympics.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't sit there and say, well, why are you, representing the USA? And I was like, I'm representing the USA, yes, but I'm going to use this platform because I know what I'm representing or what I stand up for will get attention based on the position I have.
And you want what's best for the USA too. That's why you're doing it.
And so, Eric Reid was like, nah, I'm not going away. I'm not going away. And I don't understand why people take that position. Well, you should quit. You should quit. You wouldn't take that position in government, right? You wouldn't take that position in government. You can't say, well, our government's corrupt, so therefore I'm not going to seek to change the government by running for office. I'm like, no, I'm going to be in office, and I'm going to bring attention to these things and call out my colleagues and those who say they represent you for what they actually do. So Eric Reid is kind of doing the same thing. He's like, no, I'm keeping this position.
Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend, Nessa, she had something to say about this as well on Instagram. She said, so really, how can Jay-Z and the NFL utter social justice in their partnership while keeping Colin unemployed because of his social justice work?
No, short and sweet.
Very short, very sweet. And again, it was a long post, but I picked out a couple of, clips from her statement that really made a lot of sense. And I believe I said something that was very similar to that as well. And if the NFL is still in the business of shunning Colin Kaepernick, how is this supposed to? How are you supposed to partner with somebody that is still engaged in that activity? It makes no sense. Nessa also had this to say. It's typical for the NFL to buy different PR looks to cover up their dirt. That's nothing new. But what is disgusting and disappointing is Jay-Z let them use him. Whether Jay-Z knew it or not, I don't doubt his intelligence, so I would think he knew. He helped the NFL bury who he said is an iconic figure, Colin Kaepernick.
Straight from the Queen's mouth, yo.
And that's kind of like what Eric Reid said as well. The NFL is actively burying Colin Kaepernick's career. The same individual that Jay-Z said is an iconic figure. They're still engaged in this activity, but Jay-Z is able to set that aside because what?
These are people that are the closest to Colin Kaepernick.
That's what I'm saying.
Who feel this way.
You're telling me that the financial motive didn't have anything to do with this? You're telling me that Jay-Z was just like, you know what? Look, we need to really impact change. We need to further Colin Kaepernick's mission. We need to further it with the company that is shunning him and trying to bury him and his initiative. This makes sense? Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. Notably, he's on the part of the crew for First Take. He had something to say about this as well. We have a clip of that. He does not agree with the criticism of this arrangement.
The reality of the situation is that Colin Kaepernick protested to bring attention to the racial oppression that exists in our society. He stood up. He made a sacrifice. We recognize that and we appreciate that. But in the same breath, we need to understand that everybody's entitled to embrace it differently. Colin Kaepernick didn't make this move for Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick supposedly, ostensibly, made it for a bigger reason, to affect the lives of so many others, even if it sacrificed himself. Well, guess what? Now it has. So what's the surprise there? You have to understand that. If Jay-Z decides to collaborate with the NFL and use the strong arm of the NFL to impact communities, disenfranchised communities throughout our nation in a very, very positive way, then excuse me, wasn't that the goal that Colin Kaepernick had? Wasn't that the goal that Eric Reid had? Wasn't that the goal that a plethora of other people who supported them had? It wasn't about getting Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL. It was about making sure that the issues that Colin Kaepernick illuminated for all of us were being addressed.
He has a point to a degree. This was not about Colin Kaepernick having a job. It never was. Colin Kaepernick did sacrifice his own career and his ability to make money with the NFL to do something that he felt that was important for people's lives here in the United States of America. So it was never about his career. It was never about his salary and having a place in the NFL. No, it was bigger than that. But if anybody that is trying to push his vision forward, trying to actually embark and try to make this nation a better place, try to raise more awareness for injustice and actually try to change this country in a positive way. If somebody's actually trying to do that, how can they partner with the group of people that try to squash Colin Kaepernick's vision? I get that Colin Kaepernick might be sacrificed long term and forever, that he might not ever have an opportunity in the NFL again. I get that. And I think a lot of people understand that this may not have that storybook ending when Colin Kaepernick comes back to the league. And, you know, like I said, he has another opportunity to make money with that league, do what he loves to do. But if you're saying that you're supportive of Colin Kaepernick and his vision and calling him an iconic figure, but then again, partner with the same people that wanted to stick a knife in that whole dream. I don't understand.
Yeah. Colin, I mean, yeah,
I don't get it.
Stephen A is acting like the NFL were honest actors and all this.
And that's what you have to ascertain from his words.
Yeah, and I knew
that they're really trying to do the right thing.
And I didn't see that like until just now, because I didn't want to watch it when I saw it come through my feed or my subscription. It's my subscription, my YouTube subscription, because I subscribed to First Take. And I saw the title, and I was like, I ain't gonna watch it, because the title told me everything that I needed to know about what he was going to say. And in a lot of cases, people in Stephen A's position don't stay in their lane. He has some really sound opinions on some social issues, and I'll give him credit for that. But he is first and foremost, he's a representative of a corporation. And you can't ignore that.
A corporation that needs
the NFL.
The NFL.
And again, and I'm not saying it's malicious or he's consciously doing that, but we have to take into consideration like where his allegiance is, consciously or subconsciously. Like, even if he doesn't recognize it, his allegiance is to a corporate network, a television network who needs the league, whether it be any league, NFL, NBA, NHL, to, I guess, to remain solvent and remain profitable. And so he has to remain in the good graces of the NFL. And you can't tell me that this type of position, the position he's taken is not influenced by that. He's going to want to absolve the NFL and be on the NFL side and look at the positive side without looking at the optics of what the NFL is doing. And like you said, it just looks bad. It just doesn't even look right, especially when Colin Kaepernick is available. Colin Kaepernick. See,
he's available.
See, here's the thing. The NFL is a business. The NFL is a business. So they would have to be actively shunning him, knowing he's available, knowing he's better than half of the quarterbacks there. Right. They'd have to actively shun him.
And it would not be about football reasons. It could not be about football reasons.
And that's the point. So if it's not about football reasons, it doesn't seem as if they've truly looked in the mirror yet.
So if that was their once upon a time position and then it changed, fine. We have a different type of discussion here. But nothing changed. So you can't just assume that they're being genuine in their intentions of partnering with Jay-Z on this initiative and inspiring change.
Without making amends.
That's the crucial part of it, making amends.
They have not made amends.